All right, let me see. All right, can everyone see my screen? I assume so. So right now we're currently, I mean, we're probably the most likely people to kind of blow up, right? We're most likely the people to really take the world by storm with what we have. There's there's not really a whole lot of people, especially I know some of us are in California, but the most of us are here in Florida. There's really nothing. There's no Hollywood here in Miami. There is no actual place. There's no studio. There's no Marvel. There's no DC. Even in California, right? So everything's in New York. All the publishing houses, Penguin Publishing and Scholastic and all these things. These huge editorial giants, right? That we're trying to, indirectly compete with. They're all everywhere else, right? And I understand in California there's the movie studios and stuff, but even then, to be able to make it and to break through on that platform, we have to show up and literally have something to display that really says like, hey, we have something that's worth your time and worth being financed, right? So we all have our own little stories, we all have our own little books and things going on, but realistically, right? I don't know if you guys have studied, Image Comics and stuff. uh I understand, like, we all kind of admire Todd McFarlane and all these things, and it's just kind of like difficult to really like try to break into that industry, because the reason why Image Comics didn't really succeed or overtake the other ones was because it just primarily was too fractured, right? As a team, we would probably be a lot better and a lot stronger if we were to use what we have, the talents that we've acquired, and literally just kind of unite for that. And the thing about
Sorry, you mind if I interject real quick? And hey, and Selfisher, also known as Vibrant Comics. So just to kind of give some background for myself, I'm actually published under Wiseacre Comics. Uh, so I have, publishing. I've got. We're working on distribution. In fact, we already have some other creators under the publishing that have been distributed into stores, nationwide. Or yeah, I guess nationwide. The publishing creator is housed in Phoenix, Arizona. His book has been distributed from California, actually a comic book shop near me, where I'm at, all the way to New York. So I'm not sure. It kind of sounds like maybe we're trying to, or what is being implied here is to create our own publishing house, kind of like Image. Is that the intent here?
No, so currently what we're trying to do, we all have, our own personal projects and we all have our own ambitions. Instead of competing against one another, we can promote each other equally, right? So we could worry about all the pricing and all of the distribution and all that stuff once we actually have something together. What I'm trying to build with you guys is a massive portfolio piece, something we can show like, hey, not only do we have our own personal stuff, but we're also able to work with larger teams, with actual other artists, right? Rather than just having to show up with our own
Okay.
stuff, as like, oh, hey, I'm the CEO, founder, and everything else. Here you're shaking the hand of the whole business. That doesn't it doesn't come across as an actual thing that's cemented itself, or that is
Sure.
ready to go to the next level. Because as we all know, like in movies and everything, like we see the end credits, it's massive lists of people. It's like almost entire countries worth of people. It feels like, and
Yeah.
I think it's a good way for us to each um, kind of like not only get to grow and meet each other as artists, right? Iron sharpens iron. We get to learn from each other in that respect, but also we each would take home our own portfolio piece, basically, where we're able to present like, hey, to the studios, we could work in a team. We can all make our own projects and we could work together on a larger one, right? So that's really what it is. It's just an exercise of putting our egos aside, putting all that stuff and competition aside, and seeing how we could build each other up. Right. So I mean, that's great that you have distributions. I also have some of my books here in one of the larger comic shops in the area as well. Like I do my own distribution. I drive to the place. I know the owners and everything. Sell them the books. Go to children's hospitals and deliver donations of books and stuff. So like we all have our own strengths in that, right? We all have our own kind of specific goals in mind. We've all gone conventions and stuff, but ultimately, what we're trying to build now is really I mean, I guess the only other word for it would be like a repertoire. Like, hey, we've done this before. We can do it again on a bigger scale. The companies that, big funding companies or even like Kickstarter and stuff, now they'll see us and have more trust because we were able to do it at such a small scale with such a small team. They'll be able to literally give us more leeway to build up. So, I mean, again, it's a practice. We're all going to be putting our time to promote ourselves and each other. So it's really just to see how we can get that ball rolling, other than just pitted against each other. You know what I mean?
Well, and hey, I'm on now.
Oh, hey, dude.
How's it going? I haven't actually introduced myself. I'm Elijah Temple. I'm one of the co-founders of Actual Entertainment. So on the Instagram, that's me that you see posting most stuff, messaging most stuff.
Oh, nice. Hey, man, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How about y'all?
I'm doing all right. So
Yeah,
I mean, I guess. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I'm just glad that we could all make the connection. I know RJ reached out to me after checking out our comic, and I learned about. I mean, I had seen Vibrant on Instagram. Your stuff is awesome, but RJ is the one who had me reach out to that. So I'm glad that we were all able to group up.
So yeah, I guess I was trying to say, to add on to what Ray was saying, was, I mean, at the same time, with us collaborating, we also not just gives I guess our viewers, our own sort of viewers, a new option to also go to. Like, for example, we're not just promoting our own books, like he was saying, but we're also promoting your publisher, which was it's also beneficial for him as well, you know. So I think we're not looking for something where it's only exclusive, where we're publishing from each other, but more of like, hey, we're open to work. Like what you're saying, we're open to working with each other once more. You know, it's not like I don't know, like your stuff. You know, because then again, if you think about it, the way that the way you think, it was fractured when it comes to Image. Image was very in the beginning. You got Todd McFarlane, Rob Liefeld, and there was a lot of egos there, like you were saying before, where one wanted to be better than the other, rather than what we're doing right now, which is, hey, we got our own publishing company, we got our own things going on, our own self-distributing, but doesn't mean we can't help each other out. It's kind of like Milestone and DC. Milestone took up the static shock thing and kind of promotes it, and it helps promote the publisher for Milestone. You know, you can now think of Milestone as somebody on par with Image.
Sorry, just because I'm a pretty big fan of Milestone, I gotta interject, and I'm not trying to come off as rude or disrespectful. I'm just trying to figure it all out here. But when it comes to Milestone and DC, actually, DC has the rights to publish and distribute Milestone, because Milestone was struggling in their own right. So they contracted with DC to do that. Unfortunately, DC doesn't really have the rights to the Milestone characters, only if Milestone agrees to it, at least as far as I've researched. That could have changed from then to now. But I mean, I totally see this whole collaboration thing. I mean, it sounds like this might be more of like a marketing thing than like an actual kind of comic book collaboration. Am I understanding that right?
Well, yeah, for the first part, before we even actually think of making something together, we have to at least help promote each other. So I mean, it would be like testing the waters before we set out to go make, let's say, a collaborative masterpiece between all of us, right? We could at least kind of get to know each other as artists. We get to know each other as creators and see how each of us thinks, bring our own strengths into the table, and see how we could help each other out. Again, it would just be an actual, other than just making our own little thing, our own little niche off to the side. It's like, hey, we can bring people together to actually make something different. We could literally make something that could not only go to comic shops, but hey, we could branch out to actual conventions, actually branch out to go and get other stuff other than just promotion. It's really about how do we build trust within the community of like, hey, we've been able to do it in our own respective rights, right? We made our own little books, we made our own stuff. Now, how will they trust us with actual funding for larger projects if we haven't done a large project other than our own?
And when you say trust us with funding, who would be funding?
Well, I mean, that's exactly the point. It doesn't matter who it is if we have nothing to show for it other than our own work. So right now, this is what I'm seeing it as, is a project in which we could all literally, it's kind of like setting us up to the bigger projects, so that we now have an actual thing to display, an actual product, and an actual collaborative effort to show them that we're able to work alongside team members. I've gone to a couple distribution businesses where they do film and stuff here in Miami, and it's difficult to kind of breach that as a sole creator. And it's not even banks, like, they don't finance to small businesses.
To small. Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Loan or something. But if it's an actual, I guess, if we like kind of show up as a unit of an entire like entity, now it's like, hey, this is an actual business for real,
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm tracking. Okay, I got you. Okay.
Two things I'd add to that if I can. Just for testing the waters, our collab post that we did between all of us, at least on my end, was very successful from what I could see. I think we ended at something like 3,000 views. And towards the later end of that, I boosted that reel so that we could get that as an ad in people's feeds, and that really helped it out a lot. I mean, personally, I know that we grew a lot of followers from that post alone. I don't know how many y'all got from it, but it got a lot of attention out there, and it linked all of us up. So I'd say that went pretty successfully. But as for funding, specifically for this anthology, I did bring something up to Ray if we were...
You're cutting out.
Small businesses and small comic groups like that. Hang on, can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
All right, so like he was saying, it's hard for us to get funding when we're this small. But there are what I look into a lot for our company is grants, like writing grants and stuff. And what I sent to Ray is there is a comic specific grant going on right now. It's from a group called Make More Comics. And that potentially could help out with our funding for this anthology and with the distribution. So the way that it works is you submit a comic to them, either digital or you send in a physical, and it goes before a panel of judges. And if they pick you for the grant, then you get $1,000, but you also get distribution through Power Pulp Comics, who's distributed a couple of indie comics. So if we wanted to apply for that, that could handle printing costs. The $1,000 we could put towards printing costs, maybe some towards advertising, and we'd get a distributor locked down from that. So we'd be able to get it in comic stores, not just where we're at in Florida, but also, in California where you're located and all over. The thing is, they do accept anthology comics. I messaged them personally to make sure of that. The only thing I can see about that is that there is a hard deadline of June 15th. So we'd have to have the whole anthology ready by then, which is, it's real close.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, again, even if it's not this specific one, we're trying to make something that's at least worth, submitting, something that we know, like, hey, without a doubt, this could win. And again, as a collaborative effort, not only are, like you were saying, like our marketing chances are better with ads and stuff. Instead of us going against each other, it's like, hey, we could literally pool in all of our resources, all the stuff. Like, I wouldn't have known about this if Actual Entertainment hadn't told me about it, right? Like, so now we all know, and now we're all in the same ballpark, and we're thinking of ways like, okay, if we were to have to do it by this deadline, which is not at all, it's not mandatory, right? But if we were to, our brain already starts thinking of like, okay, well, I could pull this that I already printed before, and it would be a good setup to promote the book that I'm working on. And so it's like now collaboratively, we're able to think a little bit differently than per se, like, oh, if all of it was on just you having to do the research, having to do the promo and stuff like that. So I feel like in that respect, it's a little bit better. There's a bunch of other, there's a whole bunch of like literally art grants every year. I mean, this one's
So for me, I think the thing that I'm kind of thinking of now, it sounds like we want to be more of a collaboration than a individual sort of thing. So I think personally, I think instead of doing an anthology, I think it would be actually nice if we just did a combined comic and go from there. And by that, I mean like we all work together to write a single story. And whether that's like including characters from our own current books or just creating a brand new one. Personally, I think that would be the best route to go to truly show the ability that we're able to collaborate, right? Because if you're doing anthologies, it's like separate, and then it's kind of then there's still that competition of okay, well, which book was the best one, which story was the best one in the anthology versus the entire book was the best, and it's like okay, now we all contributed to that. There's no this person contributed more than that person, or this person's story was better than theirs, sort of thing. So I personally think if it's like a one single joint comic book, not anthology, but one singular storyline that again could involve our own personally owned characters or brand new ones. I think that would be the route to go. So I mean, I think that would be, I'm understanding the vision now. I was admittedly a bit kind of like confused at first, but now I get what you're trying to say. You're trying to build something big so that we're basically taken seriously. So yeah, no, of course. I mean, yeah, definitely. It is definitely, I mean, shoot, by myself, trying to go to local comic book shops here and there, trying to advertise myself, just market myself, didn't really do too well. They're like, oh, well, do you have a distributor? Do you have a distributor? Do you have a distributor? And that's pretty difficult to do alone. Luckily, though, I've been published and that's in the works and all that. So personally, at least on that front, it's not that difficult. But if we're looking to kind of basically create like I would say almost like an organization and kind of start with us, and build off from that to where, indie comics, again, this is all just my take, where indie comics is taken more seriously and taken more seriously than it is now and taken as seriously as the big three, right? I personally think that like a collaboration in that regard would be the best way to go. I think maybe we can to kind of start that off, and if everybody's on the same page, and if anybody has any thoughts, please speak up. But maybe we can kind of discuss what we have ourselves, right? What books we've already published or released or written or whatever, or ones we even have in the works, and then we can kind of go from there and figure out maybe we can decide on an idea that we all write. Like, would we write all a horror story? Would we write a mystery thriller? Would we write another superhero story? Yeah. I mean, I could start too. So for me, I've written Vibrant issue 1. I'm currently working on issue 2. There were some issues with the team, so we got a new team player now on the art side. So we're basically starting from scratch, unfortunately, but we're getting closer to releasing it. And it's basically about a young hero who was whose mom secretly passed down her powers to him and caused his father to be estranged, and his estranged father looking for that power to go ahead and defeat and become powerful enough to defeat his main arch nemesis. So that's me, and I got a couple of other stories. One I'm working on right now, which is kind of like a Jace Fox, Batman, CW Arrow, Daredevil, all thrown into one. And then I'm thinking about kind of doing like a detective spy thriller thing. So that's me. If we want to kind of go around the room, or if we want to just continue that conversation you started.
Right. I mean, before we already kind of seen what we kind of do a little bit. But before we jump into making a whole new story with an entire new, character arcs and ideas, and we all have to work together towards that, right? That's why I kind of wanted to test the waters with like the what's it called, the anthology book, before we jump into a larger project like that, because again, we don't know how each of us works. We're all still working on our own separate books currently at the same time. You know what I mean? So I don't want to just immediately. I know we all don't just want to immediately stop doing everything just to focus on this, especially if there's no. So it's really more of a trust building exercise and seeing how reliable each of us can be. to deadlines and stuff, to just show up for ourselves first and foremost before we start showing up for each other. You know what I mean? So obviously the end goal would be we make a huge project that's literally all under our own names that we build together, and we're able to go to conventions together and promote it and pitch it together, stuff like that. Obviously that would be idealistic, right? Before we even do that, we have to see what we could at least print together currently with what we have, right? And what we each have is pretty solid.
Yeah, I would say one of the end goals, whether it's an anthology or an original one done by all of us, really one of the big end goals is having something that's a high enough quality product, but also, when we have everyone working on it together, if we can get that into comic book stores, it also helps all of us with our individual projects, because we can turn around to those comic book stores and say, hey, you've worked with all of us before on these projects. And so we have these other things, cross promote each other with that sort of thing. And that kind of helps us all get into stores. So it really is like a foot in the door for comic book stores is one of the big, end goals, regardless of if we do the anthology or a brand new thing or both. That's kind of what it's going towards, I say. And then like building like a future like working relationship thing. I would say with the anthology itself, we'd have to figure out about how big, like, I know one of us would be doing a story for it if we're doing that, but just about like how big
So I
we're
mean, we
trying
would
to
have
have
to
it
start
go
from
for
scratch anyway if we
specifically.
do an anthology.
Yeah.
Right, and we could, again, it's not mandatory for us to do brand new things. Ideally, it would, but we can see exactly which of the concepts we come across. It could just be something to kind of test the waters as like an ad almost, like we were saying, like it's almost like a
Okay. So an ad. Okay.
Right, so it's like we're all promoting ourselves, and we're going to be given equal space and equal attention to each respective part. So it's going to be, let's say like 10 pages per person, right? Like it's something that's at least gives each artist introduction of who we are, what we do, where we're based from, our little story, and then our actual little comic, right? So again, it's almost like a magazine of sorts, just to test a portfolio piece before we jump into like a whole project. We want to kind of have something to show, like, hey, this is who we are, and this is what we do, and this is what we've now done together, right? Like that's kind of the goal with that. And yeah, I mean, I'm going to be bringing some of my own original stuff into it as well. I've got my own series, right? I've got all the stuff I've been working on ever since I was in middle school and stuff. And I was able to turn it into a full length, almost 70 pages each, comic stories. And I wanted to bring a character that I had worked on years ago. That I was just like, might as well, if I'm going to work on an anthology book, not just promote what I already have, but also try to see if I can start something new as well along with you guys. So I'm going to be doing this story here, where it's almost like an Astro Boy meets Pinocchio kind of story, right? This unlikely hero is able to go up against these massive odds, and just through the persistence, friendship, and trying to be bigger than yourself, you're able to like succeed. So I always try to incorporate mythology and symbolism into my work. Try to make it as wide range as possible, not super graphic novel-esque, because my stuff goes to newspaper strips that are distributed to children's hospitals and stuff. So I don't want to like too gory, too bloody or anything with my work.
No, that makes sense. Yeah, and respect to the children's hospital too. That's cool.
So it's just like I always keep that in mind. Like, hey, I want this to, like, what would come across that grandma and her son could, or her grandson could read this together, and it's not gonna scare them or anything. So there's always a little bit of mix of that. So we don't have to like completely start from scratch if we don't want to. We could still promote the things we are currently working on.
So it sounds to me like this would be more than, like you said, a magazine versus like a comic book, right? Okay, and I think that's a great idea. Yeah. So, okay. I mean, that's I think personally a great idea where it's like a huge. I mean, it's a great idea where we kind of start off as a magazine, and you're basically putting in like previews of people's comic books, and we would start with our own. And then, I mean, I think it would be a good idea to also kind of have this thing where it's like we can start inviting others too. And I mean, personally, I think it would be a good thing to make some sort of money from it.
I mean, it's a business, right? But
exactly, yeah.
To have that kind of trust in order for them to fully guarantee that money a little bit.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. No, I mean, so okay, so then I guess if we all settle on the idea of a magazine, I'm totally for that.
Yeah.
I think a magazine would be a really strong way to go.
Yeah.
Sort of showcasing like all indie comic artwork, because that's like I can't think of too many platforms that I know off the top of my head that really do that. And I've been trying to plug myself into the scene for a while, going through Instagram and all of that, and I haven't really come across too much like that. Really quickly, if I wanted to know if there was any way I could add one of my co-founders into this just to listen in, if that was possible.
Yeah, that's fine, dude. Again, this is all being recorded, by the way. Full disclosure.
Yeah.
I'm also going to be recording the entire progress of everything, so that not only do we have a physical product, but now we're going to have, like, let's say, a vlog style kind of podcast creation of it from scratch, right? We're going to
cool. Yeah.
The DVD behind the scenes of the dudes making Toy Story or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's like a little bit of that insight. So all right, so
I like the magazine idea. I think that's dope, and I like the whole record everything, vlog it style. Because I know a bunch of people like to see that, BTS type stuff, where it's like, oh, this is how they made it. I had no idea, Okay. I mean, I think that's really cool. So, I mean, I'm down for a magazine style thing to work on with you guys. I'm totally down for that. In that regard, I think printing and all of that should be very easy. I think it's a matter of maybe, again, if we're all on the same page here, just like if we're doing like 10 pages per person, right? Just to kind of give each person enough space within the magazine. I think costs and printing should easily be, shouldn't be that difficult. We just, of course, need to provide that 10 page or whatever amount page preview ready for the magazine. And then also like ads, a proper cover for the magazine. I think we should do like a collaborative name, I think, for this magazine.
That is the important part. We all have our own little companies and stuff and our own businesses, LLCs, trademarks. We have to kind of like put that aside a little bit and just come up with some sort of literally just a title for it, a name for it that doesn't step on anyone's hands, So it's, again, so we all come from basically sunny states, right? Florida, California. So it's like maybe we could kind of incorporate that as a theme for the name. That we don't have to come up with that right away, immediately, right now. But something for you guys to chew on for a little bit to think about.
Definitely. I think that's great. No, I think that's a great idea. I think also what we can do too is not just do previews, but if we're individually going to cons, right? If you have a con you got coming up, you can put in, hey, this person, is going to be at this con, this day, these days, whatever, this booth. No, I think this is a great idea. And I think it would be a good thing to start digitally because, digitally everybody has access to it. I think, we can, get like a cheap website or even free website started, and then kind of get this rolling. So if we're just looking to test the waters and see if people are down, I'm down for that idea, 100%.
That's awesome.
Same here. So if I can add on or say like what I can contribute. First, I want to say that I have every single one of your guys' books. So I think that's cool. I've read all of them and I love them. I know that with Ray, there's a lot of morals into it. Like there's a lot of meaning behind what you write and how you portray it. So I really enjoy those type of storytellings. And I could see the ambition from actual entertainment. Sorry, I didn't get to hear your name quite clearly.
My name's Elijah. You guys go Elijah. Elijah.
There's a lot of passion between when it comes from what you're writing and from what you're portraying, and like just also through the actual art as well. And from Vibrant, dude, your thing is awesome. Like I love what you're posting and what you're giving off. So there's that. So I definitely think if we all collaborate on something at some point for something big, like one big story, I think there's something there that we can definitely give off. But when it comes to here, sorry, one second, guys. What I can provide and contribute is I can contribute. I can make a website. Websites aren't that hard for me. I actually really enjoy doing that.
That's perfect.
Yeah, I can't say I've seen your website. It's really well made. From what I was checking out there. We just got our website up literally about 2 days ago. So we just got on that. But I also like I'm always like seeing how other people like handle like their online shops,
one second,
stuff like that.
So something I just kind of wanted to toss in there. The reason why I think we should collaborate instead of compete. Obviously, you see, I didn't know any of these people did websites. That would have been amazing to know before, doing one. But right now, currently, we've all seen it, right? Like Invincible, it was in 2004.
Oh, we lost RJ.
That's fine. He'll come back. It's fine. So Invincible was made in 2004, right? No one gave a damn about that until it was finally animated, right? So as
That's true. Yeah.
was made and produced for the whole world to see, it became a hit, right? So right now we're seeing.
I heard something about the website and then I got disconnected for a second.
No, you're good, bro. Again, right now, crazy times we're living in. Cartoon Network is dead, basically. It's like the whole business.
Yeah, it is.
The statues were found in a barn or whatever. They're selling the logo on eBay. It's crazy. The creator, the founder of it, passed away literally here as well. Cartoon Network is gone, and it's a shame, right? So we are here now as creators. We're supposed to, bridge that gap. We're supposed to. Someone's going to fill that void, whether it's us or not. That void is now there, and someone has to go in there to make it happen, right? So I think if we literally, as a team, if we at least try it out with this magazine, the world kind of gets to know each of us with something we all have that we could sell at conventions and promote our own work. We could also, in the magazine, by the way, not only promote our future books or events that we're going to, but we could promote the very comic shops that we have our books in. And we could now, with that, we could low-key kind of finesse, payment from those comic shops to provide funding for the ads. Other than that,
Sponsorship, yeah,
absolutely. Like, I mean, some of my biggest reels I've done have actually been collaborations with past, present, future comics, and some of the ones in the area. I think that's a really good selling point when you're trying to get people on board to get your comic from shops. Is if you can, especially if we can have a group where it's a lot of us coming together, then we can tell them, hey, we can get more collective eyes on all of us, so it becomes a lot easier to convince them to pick up our stuff because we're a bigger kind of collective than individuals.
And again, that builds us better collaboration efforts with these stores that are, again, low key. Comic shops are kind of dying a little bit. The other day, we found out Marvel's publisher is no longer, he quit, and there's no one who's going to fill that void because the movies are so much bigger than the books. They're still going to keep making Spider-Man and stuff, but the publisher stepped down. That means there's no human supervision for the quality of the products. There's just going to be people kind of moving the cogs around, continuing to do the same stuff. Whereas now we're going to be able to take the local scene by storm, literally build these relationships with these comic shops basically across from all of Florida and all of California, basically. And we're able to get funding from the shops themselves to promote them. We sell the books to there. We could now even communicate with them as an equal, as in we could do book signings with the comic shops because we're promoting them, and we could bring even more people. We could do events like that. And eventually, once we make a huge team, like collaborative, like book, an entire singular story, we'll be able to completely make something that stands out. We'll be able to make something that we can then go and pitch. We could then go and try to sell to these bigger companies, or even if not, we could then finance it ourselves through Kickstarter, through funding. We could literally now go and outsource stuff. But all of these resources,
I think Kickstarter would be great. Personally, I think Kickstarter or crowdfunding would be the best route to start with.
I've seen that
because I mean, if we could be realistic, like I think, if we're starting out, right? I mean, we're all still a decent size ourselves. And then if we're starting this new magazine thing, it's going to be starting from scratch with, maybe the backing of our fans. So we'll have just that small audience. I think it might take some time to get to a point where it's like comic books or comic book stores want a piece of the pie, and they're willing to chip in to get that. So I think crowdfunding would be the best route. And here's why I think to start with, because we can offer a tier where it's like, oh, hey, if you pay, $200 or $150 or whatever we want to price it at or whatever, you can also have a preview of your comic book in this magazine.
Yeah.
That's an amazing idea. Yeah.
Better fan interaction, 100%.
Exactly. Yeah. And then it's like, now we have the support, and then we can create and continue to build that magazine over and over and over again, and create like a rotation too, even where it's like, all right, this month we're promoting these guys in the magazine. This next month it's these, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think
100%.
personally, fan support is one of the biggest things. One of the things that's gotten a massive chunk of our sales for our Comic World Champion specifically is anyone who buys any of our physical comics at conventions gets their name in the credits for the entire run of our series.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's been massive for us in trying to get people on board with it. We've actually gotten our credits list has grown a lot quicker than we thought, and we've sold a lot more than we initially thought we would just starting out. Because of that. So getting people in on it and giving them like a piece of it, like some sort of tangibility, really helps out. And I'd make the counter argument from what most people say. Most people these days say that because AI is taking over this whole industry and the entire entertainment industry, that it's a bad time to get into it and do all that. But I'd make the counter argument that because AI is becoming so prevalent, people who are making actual comic books with real people, the real traditional way, become more and more of a sort of like an important thing in people's eyes. It makes you stand out more than what people are saying. So it actually, I'd argue that there isn't a better time than now to do this sort of thing.
That's I completely agree with that, because we are, it's that old quote, bro. We are the music makers. We are the dreamers of dreams. There won't be a future comic book industry if we're not at least willing to push that forward. You know what I mean? Especially on the indie scene. We've already seen how Image Comics has taken the world by storm with Walking Dead, Invincible, all this stuff that wasn't even super popular. It's able to still succeed, and people are seeing that now more than ever. AI stuff, everyone hates it. Jim Lee, the president of DC Comics, who used to work for Image Comics, now he's saying, hey, we're completely against AI. We're going to cut ties with it completely and entirely because it's disgusting, right? So now people are going back, buying DVDs, buying VHSs. All of the practical, physical things are coming back into style again, especially comic books. People are going out of their way for millions of dollars into freaking Pokemon cards. Like it's insane. It's absolutely crazy. And for us, not only to go out of our way to literally to conventions, to comic shops and get these relationships going, but now we're taking it a step further and we're going to be filming the entire progress of how we make it, how we're supporting each other behind the scenes. And then again, the Kickstarter, Patreon, hey, if you guys want to be included, we could literally have your fine art included. We could have your stories included for issue 2, 3, whatever. And you could have your names included. You could literally, it's building almost a core to the actual comic industry. They don't do submissions anymore. None of the big three care about submissions. They ignore all that stuff.
Yeah, that's a huge thing. I mean, when you think back on it, like Black Suit Spider-Man started off as a fan idea. There used to be so much more fan actual interaction. I mean, something that really stood out to me with Invincible as a comic is their fan Q&A section that they would have in each comic in the back and all that, where you'd be able to actually kind of directly speak to them and be able to have that sort of discourse that starts a natural relationship with them. The biggest thing you can do these days, especially in a world where everything's getting more automated, is to give them the feeling like they're actually a part of this lifeline and put them in on this actual industry themselves, because that's what a lot of people are missing out on. You see all the people complaining about comics these days because they feel like everything's kind of driven by sales, and that they keep on making these choices to reset characters and their character growth and put them back to ground one because that's what sells well. But that's not what they're wanting, and they don't feel heard. So that really I do think the magazine is the best way to go long term, because that is, I think, the best platform to incorporate all of that. And I did want to add in, starting digital is a really good idea, but I might know of a way to help us get stuff out there a bit more physically. I don't know if any of y'all on Instagram have seen of a page called zines.zip that has been on my page for a little bit now. And what they do, I can send a link to us, but what it does essentially is they're a magazine. They do zines, like independent magazines. And from what I've seen for some of their stuff, if you send them to them, they'll feature it, or they'll actually print your magazines for you and distribute them to libraries, local things, sort of like that. So that could help out with the outreach a lot. I've been looking into it a little bit. So if you send them, if you're looking here on this page, if you like scroll up a little bit, you'll see where they say in one of them there that if you send it to them, in one of their posts, they say that they'll turn it into physicals for you and try and get it out there. So there is like a whole like group of people who are trying to start this kind of physical movement, and it's just more about building the support system than anything, you know.
Exactly, bro.
No, yeah, definitely. I think that's a good idea.
Hold on, I know there's a
Zine Fest, huh?
massive here in Miami is the Zine Fest. I've seen so many creators like go out of their way to literally just start small little things printed in their homes. Like, look how big this is. And again, if we're going up a little bit from, because people still look at comics like it's garbage, you know what I mean, at the end of the day. But if we make it as a high quality kind of magazine style thing where we, photo shoots of ourselves or of whatever it may be, I'm willing to go above and beyond to edit everyone's work and to, obviously with everyone's approvals, to make it as best of quality as it can be, right? With all the graphic designs that we all know collectively and all that stuff. So it's not only is it like, oh, it's a comic collective thing. No, it's a movement, right? We're literally at the heart of the comics industry because, again, we're going to tap into that fan base. We're going to go into different markets that the comic industry completely overlooks. There's all these zines and all these things that people really are huge fans of, and are just completely missing the ball on this. You know what I mean? So it's, instead of missing the mark, let's try to like see how we could hone in on this, because now magazines could be anywhere. They sell them at Publix, they sell them at Walmart. So then, like, obviously, bigger, grand scale is still possible. It's not limited to just comic shops. But again, that would be like more future kind of endeavors. Currently, let's try to see how we can just hone in, produce a singular effort together. And that's really what is key about this first project. It's about uniting our kind of like all of our talents and seeing how it is that we could kind of create a unified effort together, just test the waters before we even decide to go make something even bigger. But I think, again, we have all the potential in the world, and together it's even better. So we're going to have all these, basically all of the research that each of us makes individually, all of the companies that we've all heard of at one convention that one didn't hear about in the other. Now it's all singular, condensed into basically format that we're all able to understand. It's stuff that we're now all tapped in onto, So it's just using that as best as we can. So, I mean, are you guys interested to continue pursuing this, or what do you think?
Yeah, I'm definitely down for the magazine.
I'm definitely on board.
Sure.
I'm definitely on board with the magazine.
Same here.
Awesome, guys. So, I mean, again, I've done, personally, I've done videography, photography for a couple. I was literally a photographer for startup companies and stuff as well. But other than that, I want to just literally place you guys in the best possible way. So you have, not only are you going to have your own personal photo editor of whatever photos you take on your phone, I'm going to try to make it look as good as possible, or whatever it may be. And again, if you guys need colorists, if you guys need inkers, I'm willing to make time out of my own day to literally help and make it as best as possible, so that even the starting magazine has a cohesive kind of, quality through and through. So it's not just like a mixed media kind of tacked on together. I want it to feel like it's this cohesive project, so that the quality is consistent throughout the whole thing. And again, we've got a couple different art styles and different stories, but we all have like huge stuff to offer. So at the end of the day, all of the information we have, we'll be able to pool our resources together and just, make a great effort. So
All right. No, definitely. I think this is really cool. My last question is who goes first in the magazine? Nah, I'm just playing.
Oh, that's a great question. That's true though. So who?
Well, no, I meant like I was joking about like the order, but
No,
it was a joke.
all of us. It would literally be who we are as a collective whole, right? We still have to come up with that name, but we're still
Okay. Yeah.
we're gonna have right before our own stories or whatever. We're gonna have an index.
I see a little like okay, yeah.
It's like the
little description about who we are and all that. Yeah. Got you. Okay.
the editor's notes of who we are, what we do, where you can find more about us immediately. First page is an ad for all of us. It is our business cards for all of us, right? So it's kind of from there we're able to branch it out. And again, if you guys only bring 2 pages, if you guys only bring 3 pages, whatever, whatever you have works. The more we have, the better the book will be. But ultimately, it's really just up to what we're able to get and gather. Whatever amount of time and dedication you want to add onto this, I'll try to match that effort, if not go a little bit further. So we could all literally just kind of push this forward and make it happen, because again, this is not the end goal. This is just one little step on the ladder. We all know where we can go. We all know how big this industry truly is, right? We're trying to make it into movies. We want to be directors. We want to be, the next Cartoon Network, the next Marvel. I get that, right? But before we start pitting it, against each other, trying to compete this and that, let's see what we can do together to kind of like sneak around the industry and really like hit it hard, right? So let's see what we got, guys.
Yeah, 100%. And for anyone, I mean, I know that we're not all local, but for those of us that are, one of the things that my company took a very long time doing when we started out is we rented out like a big garage side storage unit that we've turned into a sort of office and recording studio. We like raised new walls, we insulated the whole thing, we built a stage and a vocal booth. So I do audio recording and music and all of that. Our company has an audiobook in the works for one of the novels that we have, and I have like just an insane amount of equipment, instruments, musical gear, editing stuff. So I have like a place to store things. I have a place to record audio. I have a place to shoot video and footage, storyboards, stuff like that for us in the local scene, and anyone else who would want to be doing that. So. Everyone kind of brings their own thing of what they can to make our whole content as a whole better, and that's kind of the whole point of this, I feel.
Yeah, dude. I have contacts with literal local magazine stuff. They have a department in California, so I could literally suggest them to you, refer them to you through the emails that I have. Like we have magazines, we have audio recording. In downtown Miami, there's a podcast studio that I'm good friends with the owner of it. Dude, we have all the potentials right here. We have the next Image Comics. We have the next, forget Image. We have the next Marvel. We have the next Disney right here. So I think if we really if we're willing to put our efforts and focus in, we can make it happen. So
for sure. And I mean, I'm 100% down. And I was just going to ask, when it comes to making, like, I guess the magazine, how quick does everybody want it to be made? And the reason I'm not asking for any rushing reason. I'm also saying, if we're promoting our books, would the first issue be us having a preview of what our current books or published book would be?
Right. So, I mean, again, I think in terms of marketing and promotion, the best designs of ads are timeless ones. Let's try to not date everything, right? Because, again, even if the book is printed, why would we be promoting an event we were at maybe, let's say, a month ago or something, or a month from now, if we're going to still have this book on our table maybe 20 years from now, right? So let's try to design the ads. And again, we'll talk about it. We'll be able to research it. I'll show you guys images and samples, and we'll go back and forth until we find exactly what it is we want, So we're trying to make this as timeless as possible. Imagine if this were, let's say, in a museum, right? Think about how literally Jack Kirby's name is on a freaking street sign now. All of his work, if it was just on paper and pencils, all of his sketches in museums. If this book were to be presented in a museum with all of our faces and all of our names and all of our things, let's try to not date it with something that, you know what I mean? So let's just make it as like, hey, this series is out now, right? Even if it's not out yet, who cares, dude? It's out now. Here's the website. Learn more how you could fund the series. Here's a, you know what I mean? Like it's that kind of the way that Steve Jobs does marketing, right? Think different. That has no time or place, but it's like a message to kind of move them towards that brand. Same with Nike. It's like, oh, just do it. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. So I mean, again, we'll have to figure out exactly our collective names, and then figure out each of us what it is we want to bring to the table, whether it's new, whether it's mixed of new and old. We're going to kind of have a little mini portfolio of each of us, you know, in our work a little bit. Just because, you know, to have a full package. Other than that, we're just going to see what it is we want to add, what it is we don't, and we'll edit it from there. Right now, the page count doesn't matter. Right now, the deadline doesn't matter. It's seeing exactly what you guys want to bring to the table and how much of it we're willing to provide, right?
Definitely. Yeah, I think I do have to get going in a bit, but I do want to give this is maybe we can probably get like a shared like Google Doc or something like that. Just start kind of typing in ideas of names and things like that, how we want the magazine to be set up. You know, what we're looking for out of it, this, that, and the other. I think that would be a great thing. And then, yeah, we could definitely collab on you know, the collective name and all of that going forward.
Yes, sir. So I agree, guys.
Yeah, so I'd say probably a little bit easier than a Google Doc is just to make our own Discord server, because then we can split things up into threads and channels for the name and then the individual works that are going in it. It's easier to add in other people over time. So I'd say that's probably the best way to go with that.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Sure, yeah, just send me the invite. I do got to get going, guys,
absolutely.
But yeah, thanks for the talk. I'm up for the magazine, and yeah, looking forward to this.
Appreciate your time, bro.
Yeah, man, it's been awesome. Right. Thank you.
For sure, y'all take care.
You too.
All right, guys. I know. I don't know if you guys do your full issues yourselves. Again, now you have full access as to me and inker, colorist, whatever you guys are working on. I'll try to help kind of pull it together a little bit. Other than the stuff I'm working on too.
Yeah, so I can't draw more than stick figures. I am purely writing. I do writing, and I handle the business, and I all my companies. It's two of my brothers and one very good friend of mine. There's 4 co-founders of our company that came together about last year. And we're all writers. We all come from like a writing background. So we usually have to go to other people for the artwork. We actually just got a new artist. We're in a little bit of a situation like Vibrant is, where our first artist that we had for our first 2 issues had scheduling conflicts. He's an amazing artist. He's an amazing guy, but he's a full-time artist, so he has to stay very busy. So we went ahead and we got a new artist. We did like a whole contest. And our new artist is fantastic. They're perfect with the style that we're going for. And we actually should be getting 2 covers done soon. That'll be finished hopefully in June. And then in June, we're going to be publishing issues 1 and 2 of World Champions into shops, hopefully, because we only have issue 1 right now as like a limited edition thing that we did. But you know, we're going into to 1 and 2 going like big releases in June if we can. Something I'd like to bring up to y'all, if y'all haven't done it, I haven't seen a single other comic person there, but there's a art walk in Hollywood, Florida, and it's the 3rd Saturday of every month. So it's every month. It's consistency. And it's a little marketplace where everyone sells like trinkets and food and art and stuff like that. And we've been getting consistently good sales there. A lot more surprisingly better sales than you would think at like a market instead of like a Comic-Con or things like that. And it's only $85 for the table, so it's cheaper than a lot of Comic-Cons you'll see these days. If any of y'all were interested in doing that, about trying to get like a space next to each other, we're pretty good friends with most of the people there because we've gone there about 3 or 4 times now. And we've met some incredible people through that marketplace. Like just some of the best connections that we've made. We've met a printer, and we're looking to see how much his printing costs versus how we already print our comics. And we actually ran into Jonathan D. Smith. I don't know if y'all know who that is, but he is was a colorist for Image, Marvel, and DC. If you look up Jonathan D. Smith online, you can see a lot of his work. And we got to sell him a comic and talk about the industry and all of that stuff. So there's really cool connections and there's really cool people that you can meet there. It's not too expensive for a table. And And I'm always trying to recommend that to people who are doing comics as a place to be able to consistently go every month on top of your existing cons and schedules and stuff. That's not too expensive and has a pretty good turnout.
That's fire, dude. Yeah, 100%. There's a whole bunch of other events that I've gone to every now and then here in the local scene. Again, we're the Miami guys, so I mean, we could literally table together, like, you know what I mean, like soon rather than later. But right, let's just try to see how it is we can figure out what it is we want to promote and put into the magazine. Eventually, we'll need photos, headshots of each of us and stuff, and little artist bios and stuff, so we could assemble a content page. And yeah, man. I mean, I think it's great that we have so much available to us. You know what I mean? Literally, like immediately. So I mean, yeah, man. Anyone else have any last remarks?
Not really. I mean, first to you said Isaiah, right? That was the name.
Elijah. It's a biblical name.
I'm sorry. Sorry. I remember we were talking about writing Jack Lightning. Just letting you know, I'm about ready to start in probably next week, if that's cool with you.
Perfect. Yeah. So just so you know, with my schedule, I always have Thursdays off, so I can do stuff on Thursdays. I am like a full-time cashier, so I work a lot of days. But I know it's a little inconvenient, but I do a lot of my writing late at night, like 8 o'clock and onwards when I'm off of work. So that's an idea. But when I used to work at a Domino's Pizza since I was 16, and I would be up till 3 a.m. every night working on stuff. I try not to be that crazy anymore, but so I do a lot of stuff at night. But I'm absolutely down to help write, to help edit for your stuff. I think the artwork and what you have is really fantastic for a lot of it. One of the biggest helps for me when it came to writing, because I always knew how to sort of write fun stories, but writing an actual comic book script is a very different thing than just traditional writing. It's learning to write for panel by panel is a skill that you have to acquire. And our first artist, Carlos Trigo, it was really cool that he went above and beyond just making our art for us, but actually trying to teach me proper script writing like that. He put me in contact with the editor and the letterer that we still use. His name is Tony Karnowski, who taught me more about how to properly lay out, dialogue in an A, B, C section with panels and stuff like that. So I'm absolutely down to help anyone else kind of learn with that, and I'm still learning myself. So it's a whole lot of self-teaching and teaching others and stuff like that.
100%. And by the way, I fully respect that. I work full-time as well. I have a day job. I'm literally gridlocked, from basically 7:30 a.m. to almost 6 p.m. every weekday completely. So I always try to wake up a little bit earlier in the morning to just get a couple sketches done or whatever, maybe a couple words of dialogue. Fully respect that, fully understand that. And it's going to be it's going to be difficult for us to try to make time, in each other's different busy lives to kind of come together and make this happen. But again, something that we now have the luxury is we don't have to do everything ourselves, and we don't have to lean so heavily on one rather than the other. We could have these kinds of meetings, as RJ was mentioning in the group chat. We could have them more frequently. It doesn't have to be scheduled every day at this time, but it could be kind of loose, whatever. If you guys are having script problems with the characters, and if you guys want a quick storyboard and stuff, we're here for that, right? I'm here for that. I could help you guys write stuff. I can help you guys draw stuff, sketches, whatever it may be. Again, that's the whole point. It's a collaborative effort. I know you guys outsource your artwork a lot. Dude, I'm more than happy to try to go above and beyond. None of us are getting paid, bro, at the end of the day. So it's something we kind of pull off and make happen. Again, I'm definitely going to follow up with you on the in-person audio stuff, or the storage room, whatever it is you have, or the connections for that monthly, the semi-monthly kind of art show and stuff. Dude, that's perfect. Just the more stuff we bring to the table, the better it is. I'm willing to, again, just to really get this rolling and try to get this done as quick as possible. Ideally, a deadline would be great, but for now, let's just see what we can gather before we becomes too strict and too harsh on ourselves.
Yeah. And one of the one of the longer series we're going to be doing. Sorry to cut you off. Just
you go.
is we will be shooting. I kind of showed it to you a little bit when we were at PalmCon, right? But we're shooting a series on camera that's going to be very low resolution. It's like 0.03 megapixels, and then it has like color palette and dithering, so it kind of looks like everything's shot on like a Game Boy camera, if you remember that sort of thing. And then we're going to be turning that into comic panels and all of that. So that's something that I'd like to introduce into the magazine for like a different type of medium, just like different stuff like that to get creative with it.
As much promo as possible. RJ, you had some thoughts?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, no, I was just saying I'm completely down. I mean, I really, really want to do this, and like I'm willing to offer up any characters or comics to if we're actually going to do like a collective, publishing thing at the same for like the end goal of it. I'm willing to like offer up what I got or whoever I got, to help out with whatever I can. But I mean, like I was saying before, and also sorry for cutting off. My friend turned on my car and my Bluetooth connected, so I kind of like cut off. So.
No worries. Yeah, dude, there's no worries. But yeah, just what were you saying?
But yeah, I mean, I got this new deal for printing comics and whatnot, cheaper than what it is. Because normally it's like what, $4 or $5 to print out like a 32-page comic, and I got this guy. He's printing it out $3.90 per comic. That's just alone, and then it's able to go shorter if I do bulks, and $10 for foils and whatnot. So I mean, I'm definitely willing to offer up what I have and what I can do. I mean, also same thing with the website. I'm willing to do whatever. Of course, I'm not gonna like just try to like design all on my own. Everyone's like gonna collectively like collaborate with everything. But in the other part of it is we also have a chance to, if we do something collectively in a collaborative publication type thing, we don't have to pay all like our own individual booths for our companies if we can just do one and we promote all of our books all at once. In the long game, we're all saving money.
That's the goal.
We're all promoting your book
to make like literally like a team. That's the whole point, right? So before we're able to fully unite for bigger events, for book signings and whatever it may be, we kind of got to assemble just the magazine for now, so that we could literally bridge and grow into that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's going to be a whole bunch of opportunities that open up just by giving each other the information we've learned,
Yeah, and I'm actually right now I'm reworking with Rogue Hero issue 1 because there's something I want to keep my style consistent, and the lettering before was pretty bad. And don't get me wrong, and the one thing that actually Elijah brought up was my grammar is terrible. So I gotta go
You're
back.
good, man. I 100% believe in the saying, make it exist first and make it good later. You can't like get too hung up on perfectionism that you don't make stuff. And I wouldn't have even found out about you if I didn't have something of your work to see. So the fact that it's out there is getting you seen, and it's getting you connections, and it is the way to go. So I wouldn't beat yourself up over stuff like that, because there are people who are too scared to even get something out there. They never get to this point. Obviously it's good to want to like have your work be as high quality as you can. But I still think that what you're doing so far is incredible. I think your Discord specifically, you've made a huge community of people who can come together and work on stuff like that. I mean, your Discord's blowing up my phone like all the time. So I have a lot of respect for you, man. I think what you're doing is awesome.
Thanks. And again, I really want to provide whatever I can. And but yeah, I mean, I think we should do this again, maybe sometime next week. And then what I was trying to say before was I want to use Rogue Hero as my first story for the thing. Of course, I'm re-editing everything, but it's gonna be like a relaunch of the first issue to make it look prettier, better, and grammatically correct.
Yeah, dude, that's fine. I've re-released my first issue of Junket like I don't know how many times. I've had to go back to like, hey, here's the revamped version 7. I think it's literally, I forgot that phrase, but it's like create like a child and edit like a scientist. You know what I mean? Like, just as long as it's made, that's all that matters. We'll make it better later. We'll make it perfect later. Just get it done. And that's what that's the mentality we have to keep for the magazine as well, right? So again, whether if it's stuff we've already made, whether it's revised versions of it or it's brand new stuff, whatever we have, let's just pool our efforts into this magazine. at the end of the day, we all trust each other. No one's gonna backstab anyone. No one cares about stealing this or that. It doesn't matter, dude. What matters is like, hey, this guy knows something that I don't know. You know a place that I haven't been to. You know, so we all kind of like help each other out, right? So again,
For sure.
inking, drawing, coloring, writing, all of it. We're able to kind of help each other out. Again, it's not full time anything, but it's like as much as we can, as much as we can provide at any given point. Definitely I think we should have like a little writing kind of meetup if that's what we're interested in doing. Like our little writers' room set up if we're trying to kind of like, build up that kind of muscle for eventually we're able to like make a huge story together, So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for meeting up in person, I mean, I got the spot. Like I said, it's calling it a storage room. I think is a disservice because if you see the inside of it, it looks like a apartment. I mean, I'm so happy with how it turned out. It took like over a year of construction. We found like a storage place where they literally told us they didn't care what we did with it unless we didn't, start a fire. So it's really tricked out now, and it's where I spend a lot of my time. So I'd be down to have y'all there at any point. I do have to hop off because I'm on 3% on my phone, so I'm about to die out here. But yeah, it's been awesome, and I'll stay in the group chat, and I'll be thinking up ideas, names for the magazine, anything like that. I can't wait to get started.
heck yeah, dude.
Same here.
Take your time. So I mean, just
Yeah, man, it's been awesome.
hell yeah, bro. Thank you.
All right, see y'all.
Be safe.
All right. See ya.
All right, RJ, we've done it.
Ready.
First meeting done.
Yes, sir.
This is pretty cool. Everyone's on board. All right, I got the. Oh snap! Let me see if it's still recording. It's still recording. Awesome. It hasn't died on me. So I don't know, man. What do you think? I know you got your huge Discord, bro. It's super cool that you've built that. We could literally, we could have help from some of those smaller artists as well. We could build upon what we've already started together and see how we can make it grow even bigger.
I think, honestly, I'm gonna be 100% honest when it comes to this. I think we could utilize. So initially, I wanted to make an anthology for Collect Comics, right? And that is a goal. But what I'm hearing now and what I'm listening to is really inspirational, and I really want to put a lot of effort into this. And I think we can use really everything that we've gathered in my server to help promote what we're doing here. And I think in the sense of like how we're gonna do it, I think it's best if we start first, like the first 4 creators started off to kind of give it a platform of what we're doing, and then as we continue, we can grab the people that we have that want to do a story. That because there are people in my server that need an artist, and honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you. I think there's a lady in my server that wants to do art or wants to make her story, but your art style is like perfect for it, but she can't afford an artist. But yeah, I think we can definitely do this, and I really like. If I'm going to be 100% honest, I want to use Collect Comics as I guess the way I think about it now, because Image was made. It's not it's a publisher, but it's a collective publisher, and it's made by different production companies. So Collect Comics could be a production and it can publish through whatever it's called, whatever company we come up with.
Still keeping all of our respective rights. All of our characters are still our own. Each singular business is still its own thing. It's not. None of this is gonna get like tangled up. It's literally just, hey, here's this business, and here's also this person, and here's this artist, right? So just placing it all under
an umbrella.
Yes. So before, because really the most the touchiest subject within this is always like, hey, everyone wants to have their name and their art up on page 1 on the cover, So it's trying to see how we could make it so that we are at least all kind of feel like we're
together.
Same together. Yeah, exactly. Together, we're given the same amount of respect and time. And yeah, dude. Again, I know you have your Discord chat. I know you're building your own stuff, your own entire series and issues, and you're reworking it. I have so many deadlines of stuff I have to work on. I have the freaking newsprint paper that I have to keep coming out. It's like a monthly thing. I have my own books that I'm reworking and repackaging into a trade paperback. I'm making the new kids book, which is collecting all the newspaper stuff. So it's like I fully understand. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For that, we're gonna all do this magazine. right now, currently, I think the top priority is the magazine so that we could all kind of like grow together, dude. But yeah, don't stop whatever you're doing in your own time. I want you to grow your fan base and grow your Discord and all that. And then, like you said, let's focus on just the first couple of creators that are on board, so that we could literally just see how we could develop this. Right? Again, we're just testing the waters. Nothing's set in stone. There's no contracts or payments or any egos in the way right now. We're just trying to see,
Correct.
can we do this? We'll see how it works. How do we work with each other, right? Who does what we can kind of, shake each other's hands and literally just pat each other on the back, kind of stuff. Like, see how we could kind of literally make it happen somehow, right? So it's just a practice run. It's not the end goal, and it's not the end of our company or anything like that. It's just seeing how we could promote, just marketing. It's just trying something different. We've tried our own separate ways to decent success. Now let's see if we can do something together.
100%. So yeah, I think before we start publishing like individual stories in our in this new umbrella, we should definitely like have our magazine out there first, and it also creates trust for our creators. For example, if me and you were, if I were to publish anything from Collect Comics into whatever the umbrella is for our thing, I think that would definitely, like, for me, it would be like I have that trust. I'm like, okay, no one's trying to screw me. All my intellectual property is mine. It's not a screw you. I take it now.
It's not a competition in any way. I want this magazine to be like, again, it's a portfolio piece. We have our faces going to be on it, each one of our faces, each one of our names, our bios of what we do, where we're from, why we do it, and then a little bit of like literally a display of all of our work, all of the things we have, all of the things we're doing, and then a segment that says what we're planning to do. That's it.
And there's the other part is, if we develop a catalog, and this is the one thing that I've been trying to do, but it's hard for me to do because it's like everybody's like, I need an artist, and it's like I can't give it, because like if I spread myself super thin with the timeline that I have, because I work at 7 to 4, and then Monday, Wednesdays I work 4 to 8, and then Thursdays I work 4 to 8. So it's kind of like, yeah, it's super thin, and it's like I can't do everybody's art. But if we're able to do, I guess what I'm trying to say is, if we're able to do what we're doing now, we're not going to be relying on one person for starters. And it's just, I think it's going to be really good. I'm really excited for it,
100%, dude. And I appreciate, again, your time and your trust in doing this together. It's going to be amazing, bro. Let's really just try to see how we can make it as good, and if not better than the potential we see in it already, So thank you, dude.
100%. You too. And I'll talk to you later.
See you next time.